Hi all, hope you're doing well. This is Maro. Welcome to my channel. Today I have a Colbert game I wanted to share with you all. And Colbert I got with research points. That took a while. So, I was thinking between Colbert and Ohio. But I really don't like Montana, and I figured, I like secondary battleships, but if Ohio is the same as Montana and I don't like Montana, then perhaps not the best course of action. So I decided to get Colbert instead. I've been playing, quite a lot of cruisers, kiting cruisers, spamming HE. So I figured Colbert would be a perfect fit. It has a very high DPM, probably one of the highest in the game, and sometimes I thought it'd be just fun. Press that button and fire as much as you can. However, what I found out is that me and Colbert not necessarily get together or get along very well. So, um, I played 35 games in Colbert so far, and I only won 37% of the games that I played. So usually I'm an average player around 50, 51, maybe a little higher if I'm lucky percent. So 37% is pretty low. I looked at the other tier 10 cruisers just to see for comparison. So I played 82 games in Des Moines. I have 56% winning ratio. I played 23 in Nevsky. I have 57%. I played only 7 in Moscow, so that really doesn't tell you much, but that's like 70. 57 in Mino, that's like 40. That's kind of bad. Worcester, 148 games, 50%. So, what I would expect. I guess Smolensk, 22%, 22 games, 63%. So, in comparison to all the other tier 10s, I did the worst with Colbert. And the way I wanted to play Colbert and tried to play Colbert was as another kiting cruiser. I will position myself, look for those battleships, and then just press that button and fire away. But what I found is that that doesn't work. What would happen is any shell that would hit me, it would really obliterate me. Colbert is a light cruiser, very light armor, and you know, yes, I'd be able to dodge a little bit, I'd be able to dodge, but the range that I had on these guns, which is I think in the build that I was using around 16, 17k, and the slow shell velocity would make it very hard for me to A, hit ships that are maneuvering, and B, I would not be far enough to be able to dodge successfully. So I found myself dying and dying and dying again. Also, you know, the gun arcs and the position of the guns, it's very hard to bring the back guns on the target. So you have 8 turrets, 2 guns each. So the 4 ones on the front, they're great. They're 8 guns firing what in this build, maybe 2.5, 3 seconds each. So a huge volume of fire. However, I think if you want to bring the back guns, you really have to turn, and I think 1 or 2 turrets you may be able to get by 35-degree angle or so. But if you want to get all of them, you pretty much have to go broadside. So in fights where I would get carried away and I would try to get as many guns as I can on the target, before I know it, I'd be exposed and either that target or another target would just lap me. So I died quite a few times like that as well. Speed of the ship 33, I think, or so knots. Um, Nothing special. I think with the speed boost you get it to 40, and that would be fine to try to get away. But still, if I was engaging ships, especially the higher caliber battleships, all it took is, one shell and 10, 13, 14,000 of my health would be gone. So that wasn't really a successful strategy, how to cope with it. I also, thought that maybe I can engage destroyers, but I found it's very hard for me to engage destroyers from the distance that I'm at, that I'm my concealment. My concealment, I think the max concealment maybe is around 9.7, 9.8k. And if I'm shooting at a DD that's dodging at that distance with these shells, again, it would be very hard for me to consistently deal damage to that DD. So after 35 games, and who says that I'm a fast learner, I made some changes, and I didn't really play too many games. I think I just played one game. But the change I made is really in the approach, how I should play this ship. And other YouTubers have, I think, commented on this already. I think I saw Flamu's video maybe from a year ago, and in it he talks about how he plays it, and obviously he deals like impossible amount of damage to the ship, and that he's engaging, and it just makes it look so easy. But I decided to, because dodging didn't work, I decided to approach the hiding kind of strategy with the ship. So I went and removed I removed the maneuverability module. I replaced it with the speed, not speed module, but the module for acceleration. So that if I'm stationary, I may be able to move faster back and forth. I also changed my captain belt. I was using my pre-existing captain that I had, and I think I used it on the other French cruisers, but here I found that it didn't work because it was built around maneuverability, concealment, and range. And here, getting more range doesn't necessarily do much for you. I do add to I think the base range is around 13 or so K. So I use the 4 point skill, um, AFT, to get an additional 3K just to keep it to 16. I just felt, while it may be hard to hit targets at 16 if it's a battleship, and if I'm hidden, 16 would give me a little more opportunity, little more chance to burn them from while I'm hiding behind the rock. So I decided to keep that. But I also added IFHE because I found that hitting cruisers really didn't deal as much damage to them. I had a few close encounters with other cruisers, and yeah, I would light them on fire, but 21 um, HE pen just wasn't enough. So I added IFHE to bring it up to 26. So now when I hit most cruisers, there is pen damage and then there is fire. So I thought that was a good change. I also then added the fire starting skill as well to compensate somewhat for the loss in fire starting capability. But then again, with this ship, as long as you're able to land shells on target, you land so many of them that you should be able to start a fire reasonably quick, reasonably fast. So I think that was a good trade-off. I also have BFD just to keep that rate of fire high. I removed I had the warning skill also on the previous build because I was playing the French cruisers, and I would kite, and I found it very helpful to know if somebody fired from a distance, especially another battleship, because I'd be able to start maneuvering with the ship. But here I actually decided to go away from that. It's a little bit risky because you really have to have good map awareness and know where your enemy is, especially the enemy that can take you out with one shot. And that has happened to me quite a few times. But I thought this build, may give it a better shot, or may improve my chances of actually A, contributing to the team, and B, dealing more damage. So this is the first game with my new build. Um, and I went straight for the island. I kind of tried to stay around it. I was hoping that Shima would give me a little more vision, but I think it worked out. for the most part. Obviously, there are some mistakes. I think one of the bigger ones will be a little later. It wasn't really like a huge mistake. It was just basically about positioning and trying to eliminate ships. So I will highlight it when it comes. But that's just part of the learning process anyway. So that never really changes. I think here with this gearing destroyer, I could have been a little more aggressive, trying to go after him. He just fired torps. He's there, and instead I kind of go back and not really engage. So I think that was a mistake. I think another thing to highlight here, and this is why I'm so kind of cautious when it comes to destroyers, is in Colbert you can select the Hydro or the DFAA. I used Hydro in quite a few times, but then given how I was playing the ships, how I was playing the ship, kiting, shooting from the range, I just found that it wasn't as useful because I never was really so many times in a situation where you know I needed Hydro to spot a DD in smoke or really be able to use it. And then with so many CV games, I decided to go for the FAA. Colbert's AA is decent. It's nothing great, but it probably puts it in the top quartile or top third maybe of cruisers. So I just felt that the FAA would make a difference when it comes to planes and dealing with CVs, and so far that has proven to be the case, especially in tier 8, but even tier 10 games. I guess the only issue, obviously, is you don't necessarily have CVs every time, so sometimes it's just wasted. But I decided to accept that loss. One, because the AA range is the same as the concealment range from the plane. Hence, I don't want the planes to loiter too much because the more I'm exposed to the enemy fire, given the armor of the ship, in the greater danger I am. So I thought this would be a good way to try to reduce some of that. So for now, I'm keeping it. I'm not again 100% sure. Maybe if my gameplay evolves, maybe I'll try to do better. But for the time being, the DFAA it is. In terms of other consumables, you have a heal, and you have obviously the engine boost. And as part of my build, in the second slot, I actually use the engine boost mod just to extend the duration. So I think with the additional duration, it's the 20% max speed engine boost, and it lasts for just over 4 minutes, 4 minutes and 12 seconds, and reloads every minute and a half. And having that higher speed, if you're trying to reposition or if you're trying to flee, it's good because then you reach speeds of close to 40 knots with the speed flag. So very helpful. In terms of accuracy, and I think just to go back to the guns. So typically, you know, when it comes to targeting or aiming, I'd probably say I'm okay. Not great, not bad. For me, 30 to 32, if I may be lucky, 33% accuracy is what I end up shooting. But in this ship, it was 22%. And, you fire so many shells, but they're so slow and so hard to land. And I guess it depends which targets you choose and so on. So I thought that potentially could be the reason that, I am not doing as well as other players in the ship. I looked at the maple syrup site just to look at the stats for the second quarter for Colbert, and I think for the amount of players that are playing it, and I think it was maybe 1,000 players on North American server that had maybe, I don't know, 15 games each on average. Their winning percentage was around 51, 52, so much better than mine. But their accuracy was 24%. So yes, slightly better, but I'm not sure that alone is enough to really improve the scores. I really think it has more to do with positioning and how you use the ship. I think the ship on its own, without spotting, without having somebody else identify the targets, it's becomes very hard to play. Obviously, having destroyer that will spot, that will potentially maybe even provide smoke from time to time, then I think it makes Colbert uh, a great addition to the team, and uh, you can take full advantage of all of its guns, and then you can really deploy unbelievable amount of DPM, especially on the battleships. I mean, you can start fires and you can deal damage as long as you hit their superstructure. And the ship is, I mean, even as badly as I played the ship when I was trying to kite, honestly, sometimes it just felt, the ship shows up. I show up on one flank and start spraying HE, and some of it would hit and more of it would not hit, and the battleship players would start to correct their course and go back. So multiple times, I think I was able to stop the push or hold the flank just by myself or slow the advance. And I'm not sure there are a lot of other ships that that can do that on their own, and this ship can. So it does have that it does have that scary factor to it. But then it also has it also has a big target on her as well, because everybody wants to take her out, and battleships hate the HE spam. So Smolensk and Colbert are probably pretty high up there on their target list. So you can expect to receive a lot of shells your way. So that's it. I just wanted to post this video. I've struggled with this ship. It was very frustrating. It was just loss after loss after loss. I made a change. Hopefully it will work. Hopefully my approach will do better here. I have Atlanta. I've played it. Haven't necessarily done that great, but the winning percentage is around 50 on Atlanta, so there is that. So hopefully we'll see how this works. I may produce another updated video to just kind of let you know if the next 35 games are better than what I've done so far. And that's it for me. Good luck on the high seas. Hope to see you soon. And Maro out.